Hi guys, welcome to Sim Live. My name is Kiki and today I'll be creating Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars Rebels, and I found this amazing concept artwork online which was super helpful in this project. So I popped the image as a background in Blender and I started box modeling the headpiece or hair or whatever that thing is called that she has on her head. I never created something from scratch before and I've always worked from Sims 4 meshes, so this was a new thing for me and it was quite a learning curve, I must say. I failed a lot, I learned a lot, but in the end it turned out way better than I could have hoped, and I did just have to chock a lot of video material because it wasn't editable anymore with me going back and forth, and I was stopping a lot to troubleshoot and watch tutorials, and in the end I really couldn't make heads or tails of it anymore. And you don't really want to watch me redo and undo for hours, so I had to delete a lot of stuff. I also kept a lot of stuff because in the end I learned so much that I feel like I kind of know what's going on now. So this is also my first time texture painting in Blender, which I must say kind of looks like Oz. It looks like I drew it in Microsoft Paint, but thankfully they're rather organic shapes, so I can get away with a lot. And I haven't really got the hang of this UV mapping yet, so my maps don't make a lot of sense. So I'm basically just drawing it out right now in Blender, so I have a reference when I pop it into Photoshop later on to make it look nice. I still know what's what. And then after a quick weight paint, I just very quickly imported into the Sims 4 Studio to see if it actually works, which it did. And then I very quickly also dropped it into my game just to test if it worked in there as well, which it did, so it was safe for me to move on. So I took the texture into Photoshop to make it look nice. I get rid of a lot of mistakes and drew the lines up. They kind of look like tiger stripes, so they don't need to be all that very perfect. And then I just add some shading and some texturing. And then I decided to add the face paint onto the headpiece texture in the same way that blue Isla headpiece in game changes the skin color, like a costume of sorts, if you will. So thankfully I found this very clear face paint picture online. I just needed to remove her eyebrows so they didn't show through. And then I extend the face paint as it needs to be warped a little to fit the face texture. And then I found the picture which had very clear lips on it, so I just copied those lips onto the texture as a lipstick as they match the style. So let's not make things more difficult where they can be easy. And with a little bit of adjusting, they fit perfectly as well. And then I worked on the dress in Blender, and I'd already created the texture and imported it over this slanted dress. And I don't know what came over me to decide to choose this dress, but I knew that I had to straighten it in Blender, so I made sure to slant that back flap in the texture as well, so that when I pull it straight in Blender, the back flap evens out. And then I just pull the sides up to create a point in the front. And then I continue to box model the flaps, and I'll tell you what, I discovered the proportional editing button during this project and the smooth tool, and they are my new best friends. So useful. Because the right flap is going to be a mirror of the left flap, I'm not going to duplicate it till after I've UV mapped it and painted it, just because otherwise I'll have another item taking up space on the UV map, and I'm very short of space in my final map, so thankfully this UV map does make sense. I just make the back darker so I can tell the difference in Photoshop later. So here we are in Photoshop, just shading it to give it that 3D effect with my favorite burn and dodge tools. I'm just using some blending options. There are so many different ways to get the desired effect in Photoshop, and I just go with whatever feels easiest at the time. And then I add the symbol with a little bit of emboss on it, and then I just have to fit the textures together, which is quite a challenge, I must say, because there's a lot of textures. And there you already saw the texture for the arm guards and the shoes. I did the shoes before these flaps and they had to be redone so many times that I got rid of that video material. I had redone them 4 times, but every time I appended them they turned see-through, and I just couldn't figure out why. So I spent a lot of time on Google searching things like help, my mesh is see-through, and help, my mesh is no mass, which didn't generate anything helpful. Nobody else was having these problems. And then suddenly I noticed from a certain angle that my faces were actually on the inside. It turns out that in the appending process, now I don't know how this happens, but in the appending process the faces got inverted, and all it took to fix this was one key combination. I figured this out after the 4th time box modeling the shoes again. So here are some pictures of the process of the shoe texturing, but I didn't keep anything else. Well, other than the final product, obviously. And then finally we're on to the arm guards, and they were relatively easy to box model. I mean, I say easy, but it does take quite a bit of time. But I am actually enjoying this technique quite a lot. The UV map wasn't too confusing either, so that was easy, but the arm guards were a nightmare to weight paint. I just couldn't get it to work. I even considered scrapping the arm guards altogether, but they are a very prominent feature of the outfit, and after all that trouble I went through to get the boots to work, I didn't want to let that go. I just wanted to make it work. And like I said, the UV map was quite straightforward, and I'm just creating the one side to mirror over after I've done the UV map and painted it, so I can just duplicate it and they can both sit on the same part of the map, just to save space. I didn't think of this while I was making the shoes, and that's why they take up so much space on the final texture, which is a little bit of a waste of space, but there you go. But as you can see in these pictures, they wouldn't attach to the body properly. They're floating everywhere. So I posted a help me note on Reddit, and some really nice people helped me out. They came to the rescue with tutorials, so in the end I did manage to figure it out, and it was just really a weight painting issue. So onto Create a Sim. She was very easy to recreate, as most of the look is in the face paint anyway. So I created some custom poses for her as well, so you can see those in the showcase pictures. Oh yes, I went all out on this project. But I did use some poses by Helgastisha as well, so I'll leave all the download links in the description down below. I'm going to leave you here. Enjoy the showcase, and if you have any suggestions or questions, please don't hesitate to contact me in the comments down below. Have a lovely day, see you later, and bye bye!